Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's special presentation titled Weekly Opportunities. As you can gather from a title like that, we will show you how you have 52 of these investment opportunities each year. These weekly opportunities have permeated throughout our educational offerings from VectorVest, and this week I get to show you just how it all works. My name is Dan Misch. I am the Director of Retirement Services at VectorVest. And what I mean by this topic being in our offerings, we have used weekly expirations for trade examples shown in all manner of options education here at VectorVest, from our basic, intermediate, and our advanced course. They're all on board with weekly trades. So keep an eye out for new versions of all of these trainings for 2017. And in our wildly popular Worry-Free Investing Seminar and the Options Paycheck classes, we most certainly look at and implement our proven trading systems with weeklies. So let's go over a few of the basics. These were first introduced to the market back in 2005, and it was so investors had the ability to implement more targeted buying, selling, and spreading of option strategies. They were put out to help investors more efficiently take advantage of major market events such as earnings, government reports, and Fed announcements, which of course we're right in the middle of all of that in our current state. But it's that ability to make a very short-term bet on a particular news item or an anticipated sudden price movement that makes weeklies advantageous. So just imagine it's the first week of the month, and you're expecting a stock to move because their earnings report is due out that week. While it is possible to buy or sell the regular monthlies and capitalize on your theory, you would be risking 3 weeks of premium in the event that you're wrong and the stock goes against you. With the weeklies, you only have to take 1 week's worth of premium risk, and this will potentially save you money if you're wrong or give you a nice return if you're correct. And for premium sellers who really like to take advantage of rapidly accelerating time decay, or theta, these things are an absolute bonanza. As I said, you can get paid 52 times a year instead of 12. So whether you're looking at trades like naked puts and covered calls, which we teach, whether it's spread trading or condor or any other type, they all work with weeklies like they do with monthlies, just on a shorter time. So these weekly options are typically listed on Thursdays and will expire the following Friday. They are available on equities, ETFs, and indices themselves. And currently, there are 446 symbols trading with weekly options. And you can get that list of 446 symbols from the CBOE website, which they do update it and will send you alerts. But we have the same list, and we have now taken that and put it into the VectorVest program, and I will show you just how to get there. And so this is what we will do to showcase these weekly opportunities. We will begin in that watch list section of VectorVest. We'll look at the new list we put in for weeklies. We will sort and rank analyze that list. Then we will show you how to use the new weekly list in any of your favorite searches in the Unisearch tool, and that's going to be to help us identify a good trading opportunity. And finally, this week we will go into a live options chain using our Options Pro software and see how the various weekly expirations are priced. So let's get right to it. Let's move into VectorVest 7. All right, we'll begin here in the program and the Viewers tab. And what we're looking at is the watch list section. If you look over to the left, I have a folder open called Special Watch Lists. And you can see the really creative name Ron Wheeler came up with for this. It's called Stocks with Weekly Options. And all 445 symbols we have in here are currently ranked by VST. That's our default ranking for watch lists. So we know they trade weeklies. Now we just have to come in and do some of our analysis. We can look at the RV or RS or RT of these individual stocks. You could look at the VST or the CI rating, or even take a look at the recommendation. And of course, all of those are important for various reasons if you're bullish, and for other reasons if you're not bullish on the stock. But of course, we don't need to limit ourselves to that sort. One of the ones that would be near and dear to my heart would be to resort this entire list by the relative safety. And so you can see right up at the top, we have Johnson & Johnson as the safest stock in this weekly list with an RS rating of 1.48. And for the most part, the top 10 or so are all in that excellent RS rating of 1.4. Just up at the top, I'm going to open a graph of those top 5 stocks. Here we see the past 1 year for Johnson & Johnson. It certainly has been flattening out since it's hit its high back in July. Intuitive Surgical is on an amazing run this year, going from about $450 to its current price of $716. And it's the opposite story for Nike. They're still one of the safest companies we have in our database, but since they had their split at the end of 2015, the price certainly has struggled. And NetEase is another great looking graph. This is a stock that will actually come up a little bit later in this presentation, but they've moved from about $140 to $268 in the past year. And the final one here is Cummins, which had been going up. They recently signed their deal with Nissan. So that is ranking them by RS. One of the more popular ways these weeklies are used is to trade them on the indices themselves. And those indices are listed in this watch list. And one of the best ways you can find them is if you scroll all the way over to the right, and then we'll resort this list by industry. Once I do that, you can see we get right to the ETFs section, where we have listed here the Diamond, Spider, the Triple Qs, and the IWM tracking the Russell. So once you know you're in the right section there, you can just come back over and do your standard VectorVest analysis. Of course, all these ETFs are going to have an RV and RS pegged at 1.0, but that RT becomes very important to you, as does the VST, the CI, the recommendation, again, all those things that would give you confidence in your trade. And we want you to be careful in here too, because what you'll also notice is that there are the ProShares and Direxion ETFs in here, and of course that means you have leverage of either 2 to 3 times. And if you're trading options, which have their own leverage, on a leveraged ETF, it can be a bit too much risk for some people. So our next step is going to be to filter through this list of 445 symbols to find just the ones we want. And so for that, we'll move into the Unisearch tab. And the first search we're looking at is in the ETFs folder, and it's called Best Performing ETFs, Confirmed Up, Non-Leveraged. So hopefully the name tells you everything you need to know about it. And what we want to look at here is the last parameter listed, which says the stock watch list is equal to non-leveraged ETF. So we're taking out anything that would be leveraged. All we are going to do is add a new parameter here where we'll go stocks, filter by watch list. We once again want this to be equal. And when I click under the word value, it will pop open that same list of watch lists from the Viewers tab. And I will open Special Watch List and put a check mark next to Stocks with Weekly Options. And now when we run that search, we know we're looking for ETFs, we know they trade weeklies, and we know they don't have any additional leverage built in there. And the sort for this particular search is to take the relative timing times the CI. So we're looking for the best performing ETFs without leverage that trade weekly options that have a very strong uptrend from their RT and a fairly smooth price pattern from their CI. What could be better than that? So that's how you can do that with ETFs. Now let's move over and look at some stocks, and once again I'll go near and dear to my heart. And I will move over to open up the Searches Retirement folder. And I want to look at a search that has a lot of VectorVest baked into it already. So we're going to use premier growth stocks. And once again, I'm just going to add the filter of that weekly list. Now the sort for premier growth stocks takes into account the fundamentals of VST and then still multiplies that with that uptrend as measured by the RT and the smooth price pattern as measured by the CI. That's what I mean about it having a lot of VectorVest in there. And if you were fortunate enough to know when is a good time to buy these stocks, say you're one of our savvy investors who follows along with our confirmed calls timing system, we went into a confirmed up on July 11th of this year. So with that weekly options parameter in there, let's run the search and quick test the top 10 stocks. And no surprise, right? They've done very, very well. Out of these 10 stocks, you have 9 that are winning for you and only 1 that's down, and that is ABX, which is Barrick Gold. And so we had already told you to start getting out of gold several weeks ago, hopefully offsetting some of that loss. But what we want to focus on is those ones up there at the top. We have NTES and NVIDIA, both with very, very strong gains in a 3-month time frame. So with us having recently switched from the confirmed up that told us to buy these stocks to a confirmed down, you have some choices. You can sell your stocks and take your profits and run. You could sell part of your stocks and take part of your profits and run. Or you could trade some options against your open positions. In particular, you'd like to be able to hold on to these stocks till July 11th of 2017 and have that full 1-year holding period. So what I'm going to do is just take this list of stocks and I am going to send them into the Options Pro software, which again, there is a link in tonight's views if you don't currently subscribe to Options Pro. And the program will open. I want to load the option chain. So this is all live streaming data we have coming in here. That list of stocks we just grabbed from VectorVest is over to the right in gold in the same order with NTES at the top. And so that is the chain we're looking at right now for NTES, and I don't even want to worry about what type of trade we're looking at right now. I just want to show you what you can do with the multiple expirations. So Options Pro will default to showing you the monthlies. So you can see there's a check next to November 18th and December 16th. I'm going to take those away. I won't use today's date of October 14th for obvious reasons. I'll put a check mark next to October 21st. Now that is the normal monthly expiration for October, but because it's next week, it is a weekly. And we'll also look out to the next week and to the first couple of weeks in November. Now this option chain is just like any other that you may have seen, where your calls are listed on the left-hand side, your puts are listed on the right. You can see right up here at the top, October 21st, that gives us 7 days till expiration, and our strike prices are all listed down below. Now remember, on NTES, we have over a 30% gain, and the stock is currently trading at about $268.50. So you could come in and price out, maybe buying yourself a put against that stock. If you owned, say, 100 shares of NTES and you bought it at $196, you have $19,000 invested in there. And you've got a little over $7,000 in gains. So to buy one put for roughly $2.50, it's only going to cost you $250 to give yourself some protection. That's down to that $260 price within the next 7 days. Now you could offset that as well by buying that $260 put, and say you go out and sell the $270 call, creating a collar trade. Well, you can see you're going to receive around $5 for that call. You're actually going to get paid to put on that collar trade. And if that 7 days is too quick of a trade and you think you want to give yourself protection to a further expiration, just move down and you can see you get to the October 28th. That gives you 14 days till expiration. Once again, you can price either just buying the put. Now, The further out you go, of course, it's going to get more expensive for buying the option because you're giving yourself more time to be right in that trade. But you can see you also are getting a little bit more premium if you still sold that same 270 put. Now, when you start looking out at these weeklies, you do need to pay particular attention to both the open interest and the volume on these trades. They will be less than the regular monthly expiration open interest and volume, and the closer you get to those trades, the more you should see that open interest and volume tick up. But even just staying in this list, we can see that we can give ourselves the 7 days, the 14 days, we could go out 21 days to the November expiration, or 28 days to the November 11th. So not even a full month from now, and we have 4 different choices of strikes and prices to analyze our trades. And if you'd like to move down to another stock, just click on it over to the right. Now we're looking at NVIDIA, which also had nearly a 30% gain in it. The stock is currently trading at 66.36. And if you wanted to price yourself some protection, you can. Let's open up and get even more strikes put on there. And now the world is really your oyster with NVIDIA, because not only does it trade weeklies, it trades in 50-cent increments. You can see how the strikes move in 50 cents. So you really have a lot of choices for what you can do to protect yourself in this trade, sell some premium in this trade, give yourself a longer holding period to bring down your tax reasons. There's a lot you can do. As we always say, with options, you have options. So moving back into the VectorVest program, remember this Stocks with Weekly Options list is in the special watch list folder in the Viewers tab. You can add it to any Unisearch. And if you have any questions for us about this week's presentation, I encourage you to give us a call at the number on your screen. Have a good weekend.